Bring in show music, please.
This is Squawk Pod, and I'm CNBC producer Cameron Costa. On today's episode, Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy on airport staffing as we enter day 20 of the government shutdown, plus his agenda as acting administrator of NASA.
I love SpaceX. It's an amazing company. The problem is they're behind. They pushed their timelines out, and we're in a race against China. The president and I want to get to the moon in this president's term, so I'm going to open up the contract.
And crypto's calling. Anthony Scaramucci says thanks to the Bitcoin's price boost.
If you were a long-term holder of Bitcoin, you bought it 10 years ago, you get to the $100,000 number, a lot of guys look at that and say, okay, that was my number.
Plus, the Amazon Web Services disruption that took down major websites, and the French Museum jewel heist right out of the movies.
You're like some James Bond villain that has some room with a bunch of...
The merch around
yeah, like
what's the great movie with Pierce Brosnan, right? He has it sort of kept away.
It's Monday, October 20th.
What is it?
Oh, the Thomas Crown Affair.
Thomas Crown Affair.
And Squawk Pod begins right now.
Stand Becky by in 3, 2, 1. Cue, please.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Squawk Box right here on CNBC. I'm Becky Quick along with Joe Kernen and Andrew Ross Sorkin. And here we go. It's a Monday. And last week, for all the news and the concern and the fraught, markets actually had a pretty good week. All the major averages saw their best weeks since August, and you did see some pretty serious pickup. At this point, all three of the major averages are less than 2% from all-time highs. Treasury yields this morning, when I looked earlier, it looked like the 10-year was back above 4%, 4.01%. The 2-year is at 3.47. Gold prices, which have been hitting a new high every day just about, year to date up by 62%. This morning up another 1.4% to $4,274 an ounce. And then cryptocurrency boards, if you check out Bitcoin this morning, up by close to 2%, back to 111,000. Maybe worth watching the VIX, because the VIX did pick up, that volatility index. A lot of concerns from investors out there. On Friday, we saw that index all the way up to 28.99. That's the highest level that it's been at since April. This morning, it's back down to 20.79, but we have seen some increased volatility in recent sessions. Andrew?
Let's get you caught up on what is a bit of a wild story, because some major websites and apps, they are coming back online. This after Amazon Web Services suffered a major outage. It took place overnight, disrupted sites including Perplexity, Snapchat, Disney+, Coinbase is on that list as well, Robinhood, Verizon, if you were going to the Wall Street Journal last night looking for news, and the McDonald's app, among many others. Some airlines customers also complained their reservations weren't showing up on the airlines' app and that they weren't able to check in or drop off bags. Now, Amazon Web Services dashboard first reported issues affecting the East Coast, and that's the East region, at 3:11 a.m. Eastern Time. As of about 5:30 a.m., an update from AWS saying they're seeing significant signs of recovery. And I was on the Wall Street Journal website just in the last couple of minutes, and it does seem to be working, as does, by the way, CNBC.com. So I think that we are maybe out of the woods, Joe, but I don't know. And this is one of those things when you talk about resiliency and just how important how important these services ultimately are to our entire lives. It's quite incredible.
Yeah, if you can't check a bag, that's like which I don't know if you guys saw the other news. Begs the question whether RFK Jr. and Cheryl Hines checked any bags on their flight. I don't know if you guys saw it. Andrew saw it. Yeah, in economy. Cheryl Hines, RFK Jr., videos of them like walking in, totally accessible, people saying hi and stuff. And it was one of those planes with Andrew and Cocha has 3 seats on one side. And they were, RFK Jr., not very chivalrous, but it's okay though, took the window. Cheryl Hines was in the middle seat with someone next to her, and it got 118,000 likes.
Good for them.
So.
They're just like us. You know that page in Us magazine, Just Like Us? Come on.
Cheryl's like, Jesus. When I was an actress, she was kind of like this, but no, she was fine. She was fine. But Gone are the days of the afterglow of Larry David and Curb Your Enthusiasm and no, I agree. I like that.
If they wanted to.
There's some jets that don't really have anything other than
some of the small ones.
But this was not one of those. But yeah. So I just thought about that. I didn't know 118,000 likes, I think likes, which is quite a few.
We had concerns about the show this morning with AWS because Zoom was one of the sites that was affected, and a lot of our guests are coming in by Zoom this morning.
Via Zoom.
So that was a concern. Back to how this ties us all together.
Makes me think if I was, at Amazon, they said, Joe, AWS is down. Can you come and take a look at it? And would
Sure, pop the hood.
What would you do, Andrew? I know what I would do.
Kick it?
Take the plug, unplug it.
Plug it back in?
And plug
it back in. That's usually the move.
Or
I would
log out or something. But there are people that can go in and apparently somehow, but that would not be me. Andrew, I don't want you to do anything except get a piece of paper and a pencil or a pen, because I'm going to tell you what's on this. Yep, I'm going to tell you what's on this week's Squawk Planner. All right,
tell me.
Just so you can plan out your week.
I'm listening.
Key corporate earnings: Coca-Cola, Netflix, GM tomorrow, Wednesday, Tesla, IBM, AT&T. What?
They had me on the screen.
Thursday. Yeah, and you weren't writing anything down.
No, I wasn't.
Thursday includes Intel, Ford, American Airlines. Friday morning, get this, Procter & Gamble is going to release results. We're also slated to get, this we could actually use, the September Consumer Price Index report on Friday. It's been delayed because of the government shutdown. It's likely the last major piece of data that Fed members are going to see before next week's interest rate.
They decided
decision.
this one was important enough to actually bring people in, like emergency workers, to do this. Of those key earnings names that Joe was talking about, one we'll be watching later today is Zions Bancorp. That's the regional lender. It's set to report third quarter results after the bell. Investors got anxious last week about the regional banks when Zions disclosed a near total wipeout on $60 million in loans after finding what it called apparent misrepresentations from borrowers. The next day, fellow regional Western Alliance said that it had sued the same borrower for alleged fraud. The SPDR S&P regional banking ETF fell more than 6% on Thursday. That was its worst day since April, but it did rebound a bit on Friday, up by about 1.6%.
Thieves making off with priceless jewels from the Louvre Museum in Paris. So familiar to us, right, guys? During the Olympics last time, we were fortunate enough to attend the most incredible function there, right on the balcony.
Was that the coolest function ever? We could have walked off with this stuff ourselves, Joe.
Theoretically, well, and remember, we were 2 feet away from the Mona Lisa. We could have just grabbed that thing and run. But we'll talk in a second.
Where would we have fenced it, Joe? This is your question. I've just been finishing Black Rabbit, and I don't know where I would have fenced this stuff.
I've been thinking more about that, Andrew. Let me tell you. First, we'll talk about what happened. Then we'll talk about that, because that beautiful crown with how many diamonds?
It's gorgeous. Here's a
you can't.
What are you going to wear
take out? You can't. Number one, if you did take out the individual stones and ruin that thing, you should get the death penalty. But number two, if
it's not going to be worth anything,
it's not going to be worth nearly as much. If you just keep it as is, you're like some James Bond villain that has some room with a bunch of.
You can march around with it.
Like at a modern, whatever they are, chemical crap romance. But the robbery at the world's most visited museum yesterday took just minutes to complete and came during regular museum hours. But they used like a lift in a basket, broke the window, went in, broke the case, left. The thieves rode up this basket right to the facade of the Louvre, forced the window open and smashed it. Yeah, which we've seen if you walk by it. There's McDonald's right across the street. I know that. Before making off with the jewels, authorities say a stolen crown containing more than 1,300 diamonds was later found outside. The Louvre has been struggling with larger crowds and stretched workers lately, and staff walked out in June because of overcrowding and chronic understaffing. But let's say you do have you buy these things and you're like a billionaire. You can't even show any. You can't even say, look what I have, I don't think. If you have them in a room, what do? Just go spend some time with
Running around naked with them on.
Yeah, with the crown
there.
on. It's funny where her mind goes. So if she had,
literally, what are you going to do with that?
Is that what you do?
No, I wouldn't want these things. But
no, but what do you do with them? Seriously, or any? I guess even with a masterpiece. Let's say you had that, you could go and just enjoy it and look at it. But
that's weird.
It is weird.
What's the great movie with Pierce Brosnan? Right, he has it sort of kept away, right?
Does he? Yeah, I don't know exactly what you're talking about, but that's. I'm sure it's been. What is it?
Oh, the Thomas Crown Affair.
Thomas Crown Affair.
Thomas Crown Affair, and he has it. He just keeps it to look at. So you could.
It's weird.
It is weird.
Art should be shared and.
It should.
I think any beautiful thing. Have you ever gone someplace by yourself and wished your family was there? Like anything beautiful that you see is less beautiful and less special if you don't have people to share it with. That's
and if you take out like even some of the necklaces and the sapphires, if you
sapphires are pretty, I will say.
If you ruin that and you know,
but you destroy the value because the history.
You destroy the value and it's just your
Napoleonic era.
You have no soul, really, if you do that and sell them piecemeal or something. So I'm not in favor of this. I guess that's the bottom line.
Good to know.
I don't think it's like. I don't know, sort of. You know, I don't admire. I don't think pulling off a jewel heist is cool.
There is
it's not cool, man. It's not cool.
Like you think of Ocean's 11.
Yeah.
Ocean's 13.
This is not cool, man. Right.
Cheese will be next.
Coming up on Squawk Pod, it's day 20 of the government shutdown. While a stalemate wears on in Washington, some airport staff around the country are scrambling to make ends meet. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy.
The next check that comes for air traffic controllers are a week from tomorrow. And I think we could see more disruptions when that happens. A lot of them have made the point they have to find other ways to feed their families, whether they're going to drive Uber or they're going to find some short-term employment.
This is Squawk Pod with Joe Kernen, Becky Quick, and Andrew Ross Sorkin.
Tomorrow it'll be 3 weeks. It's day 20 of the government shutdown. Air traffic controllers are continuing to work without a paycheck. Joining us now with the latest, Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy. Mr. Secretary, it's good to see you. You haven't had a lot of individuals. It's not called a blue flu. I don't know what we'd call it, but some are not coming in. It's still safe at this point?
Yeah, so first, thank you to all our air traffic controllers who do show up for work. We've had a few blips, Joe, in the system where, you know, in one region, one day, another day, we'll have some delays because air traffic controllers are out. There's been some more sick leave than we'd seen in the past. But I'm telling you what, looking forward, the next check that comes for air traffic controllers are a week from tomorrow. And I think we could see more disruptions when that happens. A lot of them have made the point they have to find other ways to feed their families, whether they're going to drive Uber or they're going to find some short-term employment. We could see some more disruption. I don't want to see that. I think that would be difficult for the traveling public. But you know, this is the consequence of a long-term shutdown. We're 20 days in. Republicans have said, let's do a clean CR. Democrats have said, you know what, we want to negotiate on health care, specifically health care for illegals. And Republicans don't really have any room to negotiate because they've done what's clean. What they had in September, Republicans want to have in October. And so there's not room to negotiate. Really, Democrats have to come to the table, stop holding the economy hostage.
If it keeps going, and I don't know how long we go, but you could see more, maybe, as you described, doing other things because they have to feed the family. Will they be gone? When you say you want dedicated and the best air traffic controllers around, would some of them be let go for not showing up? Do you have the ability to do that?
I do have the ability to do that. A vast majority of them are amazing controllers, American servants. They wear American flag PEL pins on their chests. We do have a few locations where there's more problems, consistent problems, even when we didn't have the shutdown. And again, I want the best controllers that are dedicated to the work that they do. And if we see a pattern of people not showing up, or when things are difficult, they call in sick, I think those are people we should look at. But again, these are a critical part of our safety apparatus in the air. And I need more of them, not less of them. I'm about 2,000 to 3,000 short right now, so I'm trying to add to the number, not subtract from the number.
How about TSA? It's been mentioned on the show more than a few times that previous shutdowns have come to an end because of the possible impact on the economy, the negative impact if you're not flying, if it's severely hampered. And TSA is the same situation as air traffic controllers, it seems like.
They're very similar, but TSA falls under Homeland Security. Kristi Noem has TSA, but I think the analysis is the same. People who do critical jobs for the economy not being paid for those jobs. But I've been part of a number of shutdowns over the course of my tenure in Congress, and no one even in Congress knows when it's going to end. There's a certain energy and fuel that has to burn, and I think once more Americans become sick of the hassle of not having their government open, that's when the pressure comes, and I think Democrats will come to their senses and say, okay, let's open this thing back up, let's have a conversation, let's negotiate and talk when the government's funded. I think that's where we're going to get to. Whether it's going to be in 5 days or 5 weeks, I'm not sure.
It's a different world with you in charge, obviously. I can remember, I tried to figure out, I finally understood what a racist bridge was, because if you don't use infrastructure funds to connect certain communities, I can sort of get there, but it was pretty crazy. You're willing to fire, or at least you're willing to withhold $40 million if California doesn't require truck drivers to be proficient in the English language.
Yeah, that's a really good point. So this has been a long-standing rule in America that if you're going to be a truck driver, you're going to drive an 18-wheeler, you're going to drive a school bus, you have to be proficient in the English language. So you got to be able to speak English, and you have to understand road signs. It goes back decades. It's just that the rule was not being enforced. And so we're now enforcing the rule because we've seen a number of crashes where, again, these drivers, they can't read road signs. If there is a crash, they can't communicate with law enforcement. And so every state has complied, all of them except California. Which is baffling to us because, again, they should be just as concerned about safety as the rest of us. Now, the problem is if you get a CDL, a commercial driver's license in California, that license is not just for California. You can drive anywhere in the 50 states. And so these drivers from California who aren't proficient in English drive across the country. Now, other states, if they pull over those drivers, they'll flag them as not being proficient in English, and they'll take them out of service. And again, when these big rigs are taken out of service, it costs a lot of money to get a driver back in and start to move the load. So it's a significant penalty. We hope California gets on board. We've taken $40 million away from them. We also have they've also issued a lot of CDL licenses to those who are not here lawfully, or they'll issue a driver's license for 5 years, but the work permit for the migrant is only 1 year. So it extends well beyond the work permit, which encourages those who are here maybe with a work permit to stay beyond their work permit because they have a driver's license. California has to do a lot of work in looking back at their system where they gave illegal driver's licenses and revoke those. Again, this is just about safety, though, Joe. It's not about politics. It's about making sure our roads are safe.
I know NASA is under your purview as well. Exciting about the Artemis, too. You're making strides there. Less emphasis on the climate crisis now at NASA. I can't imagine the carbon footprint for this. You thinking through these things?
There's a lot of agencies that can deal with climate. There's only one that does human space exploration, and that's NASA. And that's what we've refocused on. So in the first part of next year, Artemis 2 is going to go out to the moon and back. They're not going to land this time, but this is the first time in 54 years we're going back to the moon. We actually right now down at Kennedy Space Center in Florida, we have the rocket alongside the capsule where it's going to hold our astronauts. We're about to merge those two together. We do the final testing. We think the original timeline was doing this launch in April. We think we can do it in early February, which is really cool. Artemis 3 comes a couple years after that. Now, SpaceX had the contract for Artemis 3. By the way, I love SpaceX. It's an amazing company. The problem is they're behind. They pushed their timelines out, and we're in a race against China. The president and I want to get to the moon in this president's term. So I'm going to open up the contract. I'm going to let other space companies compete with SpaceX, like Blue Origin. And again, whatever one can get us there first, to the moon, we're going to take. And if SpaceX is behind, but Blue Origin can do it before them, good on Blue Origin. But by the way, we also might have two companies that can get us back to the moon in 2028. But again, we're not going to wait for one company. We're going to push this forward and win the second space race against the Chinese, get back to the moon, set up a camp, a base, and from there, we're going to figure out how we can actually get to Mars.
Okay. We're like out of time, and no one's going to accuse me of wasting our substantive time on superfluous stuff. So we're already out of time. So now I'm just stealing time from something else. Can you just describe, you world champion, how big was the pole that you climbed? Were you on a 60 or 90 footer? Did you win the world championship? You go up with spike shoes and like, I guess I've seen people do that in these lumberjack sports. Yeah. Was it a 90 footer? And how quickly did you go up and down?
I won them both, the 60 and the 90 foot. You have little spurs on your feet, and you have a steel core hemp rope. It's a race up, and then it's a race back down. And so it takes about 16 seconds to get up and about 4 seconds to come down, 3.5 seconds to come down. It is like the bull riding of the rodeo, the great sports of the old-time lumberjack. By the way, this is the most Americana sport you can find. Again, it's these men and women who helped log our great white pine regions in Wisconsin, Minnesota, Michigan, that then these sports developed from. And again, it's a throwback to the turn of the last century.
Becky couldn't believe you could do 60 feet in 12 seconds. He did.
No, it's unbelievable.
90 feet, and then you come down in 4, so you're basically almost
sliding.
Free fall.
Yep, free fall.
So Becky, just so Becky knows, I was a lot younger and a lot thinner back in the day.
No, I've been looking up videos of this since he mentioned this earlier.
Sununu told me about. Sununu was on last week, and he told me about this, and I'm afraid of.
By the way, he's doing a great job at A4A for the airlines. Sununu was a great pick, and he's doing a wonderful job actually taking that organization forward. So he's been a great partner for us at DOT as well.
Okay. Is that a Wisconsin thing, the whole lumberjack thing?
No, so a lot of West Coast climbers, a lot of big trees out there, a lot of choppers and sawyers that come from Australia and New Zealand. Log rolling as well, the log in the water, 2 people on it competing back and forth. That's more of a North American sport. A lot of Canadians compete also. So you get these 4 countries that come together and they have this, who's the king of the forest? Who's going to win these all-around titles? So listen, if you haven't seen one, you should actually go check one out. And by the way, for all your great viewers that have money, if you want to sponsor one, even better, give some money to these great competitions, keeping them alive, and the great men and women who compete.
Mr.
Nice pitch, right,
Secretary.
Joe? Like that?
Yeah,
pitching,
I do. I'm going to say thank you, and I'm going to toss it over to Andrew. That those are 2 of the things. That's one of the things we will never say in our life. I think, Andrew, right? That we won some lumberjack. When I'm on that ladder changing the light bulb, I'm scared almost to death. So, Mr. Secretary, thank you.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
It's just not us, Andrew. We do other things.
Not on our bingo card. We're not built for it, Joe. We're not. I wish we were.
Next on Squawk Pod, the mooch on where to put your money. Investor Anthony Scaramucci on Bitcoin's rise and increased importance in portfolios, as well as the U.S. dollar's global strength.
More dollars in a growing economy, plus the stable coin technology that's out there now, plus the military strength that the United States has. I think it's going to be nearly impossible to knock it off its ledge.
We'll be right back. Welcome back to Squawk Pod.
Up and Andrew, Q.
You're watching Squawk Box right here on CNBC on a Monday morning. I'm Andrew Ross Sorkin along with Joe Kernen and Becky Quick. We got a lot going on.
Bitcoin bouncing off its recent lows, gaining ground this morning. Join us now, Anthony Scaramucci, Skybridge Capital founder, managing partner, and a Capricorn. Just actually talking about that. Yeah,
Big birthdays coming up.
Big birthdays.
That's right. You guys share a birthday.
We share birthday.
Same birthday.
January 6th. And
Eric Trump.
Yeah.
Henry Kravis.
Henry Kravis.
Yeah,
Norman Reedus, dude.
Yeah, I remember Norman.
From Walking Dead. A giant in my life. You mentioned my birthday's really not till, I don't have to worry about it till next year.
It's not a this year thing.
We don't have to worry about it till next year.
You're looking good, Joe. Just got to keep your hair. That's the key.
I know. we're going to get to Bitcoin immediately, but I go to great lengths to keep this hair. I do, and I make a lot of sacrifices for this drug, Propecia, whatever the hell it is. It's good for your prostate, though. Hey, listen, Bitcoin last week once again proved it's not a non-correlated asset. You cannot go there like for gold, or you can't go there if you're worried about a risk-off trade with the NASDAQ, because you're just, I don't know, you're going to be subject to what happens in a sell-off in the stock market if you have Bitcoin, it seems like. Does that ever change?
I think it's some of that. I think it'll eventually transition, but I think if you look at long-term technicals, it is tied to risk assets, is tied to the NASDAQ. But I think it's more whale selling. If you look at those big wallets.
If someone needs to sell something, does it become a place for liquidity and a downdraft with the stock market?
I think so, but again, I think it's big whales. If you were a long-term holder of Bitcoin, you bought it 10 years ago, you get to the $100,000 number, a lot of guys look at that and say, okay, that was my number. Someday, if Bitcoin ever gets to 100,000, I'm going to liquefy Bitcoin and diversify it into other things. And so you're seeing a rotation now from those OG whales into what I think are longer-term institutional hands. And so as this thing transitions, I think it gets sturdier. But I wasn't overly worried about price action last week. Also, look at gold. Just take 30 seconds on gold. Gold's up 60+% this year. And if you're telling me that Bitcoin won't be worth gold, I mean, a lot of Bitcoiners believe it will be, but let's say it's just half the capitalization of gold, or even if it just tracked gold from the beginning of the year, Joe, it's a $150,000 asset. So to us, we like it. I mean, that is a very steep disconnection historically, Bitcoin and gold.
So it's a part of the debasement trade. Sometimes it doesn't work as well for the debasement trade if the market's selling off.
Are you a debasement guy, though? I'm not overly a debasement.
You don't think that's why? 21 million, that's it.
Listen,
well, why is gold
I think gold is up because of the uncertainty around trade. And
Hasn't there always been a lot, though, with gold? Gold was quiescent. In times, it seemed much more turbulent than we're in right now.
Yeah,
it seems like.
To me, I'm not a big believer in the debasement trade. I think the U.S. dollar is going to be the fiat currency, the reserve currency for the next 50.
But every 10 years, how much less is it worth? Even at
remember,
and if the Fed is at 3% instead of 2% now, that's a huge difference in in a 10-year time frame.
I understand, but more dollars in a growing economy, plus the stable coin technology that's out there now, plus the military strength that the United States has, I think it's going to be nearly impossible to knock it off its ledge.
That an aura ring you got, Anthony?
I do. I have.
How were you this morning? We compare with Andrew all the time.
Yeah, I had to get up early to see you, Joe.
You did. So you 70?
Well, it's sort of like a nanny state thing. Yeah, I was a 70 exactly.
You were a 70?
70. Yeah.
Man, no, I don't talk. When Andrew has a 70,
I got an 82.
When Andrew has a 70. I don't even bring up politics. I don't mention the king of the country. I don't mention anything when Andrew's at a 70. I don't.
Andrew got an 82 because
I got an 82.
He's hiding in Philadelphia.
77 on sleep, 82 on readiness. Where are you, Anthony?
Anthony was a 70.
No, I was a 70, and I was like a 71 on readiness. But let me tell you, over the weekend, I was doing great, Andrew.
You were?
Yeah, I had little crowns on the top of my Oura ring.
So, Anthony, I'll tell you something.
Doesn't that feel so great, the little crowns?
Yeah.
I might have to try this. I don't know. I might have to. I don't know if I want to know, though. That's the problem.
That's my issue with it.
It's like
you can't have a glass.
I know that I'm tired. I know that I'm.
It's like blood pressure. When you measure it, it's like awful. So why measure it? Forget it. I'm just not. Get away from me. Yeah.
You sound like my parents.
Yeah.
Some old school stuff.
Anthony, we have people come in with IPOs, and I am blown away by what blockchain is capable of doing. And are we starting to see just with crypto, just as Bitcoin's going to stay here as a core, but I see things happening that's just spreading out, tokenization and stable coins and all this, all these things.
Well, take a look at the altcoin market. The altcoin market is down below where the FTX debacle was. And so Bitcoin's over 100,000. So that's telling you there's a big divergence there. But from people that you talk to, whether it's people at the CME, the New York Stock Exchange, over time, They're going to use the blockchain to do this. It's safer, cheaper,
Doesn't it disintermediate so many different things? Couldn't it?
Yes, but that's happened before. Look at the way we call each other now, Joe. I mean, if you and I were younger as students, it was $5 a minute to call your mom from Europe.
Right.
Now it's no dollars a minute. Phone companies didn't go away. The banks are not going to go away. There are other services that people are going to use.
I just talked about that. We had thinking back when my daughter was 26 or 25, when she was young, we had a nanny. All she did was we saw the phone bills like, oh my God, she's not even watching the kids. She's got on long distance, and it's like we don't even think of long distance. Is there anything? Does it matter at all?
But my point, the banks are going to adapt the way the telecom companies adapted, and they'll be providing services that are slightly different, but they'll still be valuable services to people. But if you're telling me that the technology, the blockchain technology is better, and again, to date myself, when I joined Goldman Sachs in 1989, it was T+5. And so if you're telling me it's going to be T plus a few minutes or an hour to have finality in a transaction, and it's cheaper, and you're going to take 6 or 7 potential intermediaries out of the transaction, I think it's going to eventually happen. And Paul Atkins has signaled this. You know, he spoke at our conference in Wyoming this summer, talking about how they're moving towards allowing for this type of technology from a regulatory point of view.
When you talked about gold and Bitcoin, so what's gold's market cap now? I'm sure you have
closer to 29 billion. When I was coming in this morning,
trillion.
Trillion, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Closer to 29 trillion.
Gold is.
And
where's Bitcoin now?
Bitcoin is 2.2. And so again, if you just took the two assets and where they were at the beginning of the year, and if Bitcoin were to, be in line with gold, it would be about 151,000 right now. So Bitcoin from a technical basis is undersold as an asset if you believe that currency debasement trade, if you believe it's digital gold.
Yeah.
And obviously, guys like Michael Saylor believe that it's way better than gold. It's more portable. It's got immutability that you always talk about. It's scarcer.
If it were 1 times gold in terms of market cap, it'd be 10 times at least.
Well, if you went to parity, and now you're talking over $1 million a coin now. But remember, you have to make a decision. Are we in an analog world or a digital world? And so I think gold will always be with us because it's a traditional store of value and a traditional asset. But you're not moving gold around the world the way you can move Bitcoin.
Why has Bitcoin been so volatile? Is it because of the leverage that's involved?
I think it's a combination of things. I think it's the leverage, Becky, but I also think it's whale selling over 100,000. I mean, they've hit it pretty hard. And I don't think you fully have gotten the adoption curve going from the institutions. You think about it now, since BlackRock started that ETF, there's legions of people out there selling the idea of Bitcoin as a piece of your overall portfolio. Is it a 1%, 2%, 3% piece? It's way more for somebody like me, but I'm just saying that selling cycle is taking longer. And frankly, older people, if you look at the demographics, older people have money. And the older people are like, I'm going to buy gold as a potential hedge as opposed to Bitcoin. But just imagine the 35 or 40-year-old 10 years from now, what are they going to be buying? It's the same statement I would have made to you back in 2000 related to tech. Yeah. The 36-year-old that was getting buried in tech in the 2000 dot-com bubble, if he stayed in tech, he had the best 25 years as an investment class. And I think Bitcoin, we'll be looking at Bitcoin 10 years from now, scratching our heads saying, yeah, it did what we thought, at least the Bitcoiners thought. It got to some level of parity relative to gold. It won't get there right away. Still, a lot of people don't like it. I don't know. Maybe it is a cockroach. Yep. But let me tell you something about cockroaches. Okay, cockroaches are going to survive us.
Yeah, no matter what.
So in a weird way, I think the metaphor of a cockroach may be a good thing.
Ants. There's never just one ant. Cockroach, like I said, it could be lost or something. Meanwhile,
you haven't lived in the city in a long time.
That's right. I haven't.
You don't have a lot of cockroaches running around.
You don't have a restaurant.
With the new mayor, I'm moving back because I can't wait to. No. All right. Thank you, Anthony. We were talking about our birthdays and age and everything because I don't. It's a 70. I'm not sure I want to go here. I'm not sure I want to go here. I was going to say you would have been the youngest. You would have been the youngest person at the No Kings rally. I would have been the youngest person at the No Kings So I know you didn't go
think it's a
because I would have spotted you because you would have had you didn't have gray
Is that
hair.
a compliment, Ben?
That's a compliment. So you didn't go.
No, I didn't go.
Because you would have been the youngest.
You did have crowns on your ring, though.
That's the podcast for today. Thank you for joining us this Monday. Squawk Box is hosted by Joe Kernen, Becky Quick, and Andrew Ross Sorkin weekday mornings on CNBC at 6 a.m. Eastern. To get the best bits of that TV show right into your ears, follow Squawk Pod wherever you get your podcasts. We'll meet you right back here tomorrow. Have a great day.
We are clear. Thanks, guys.